Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Loui. If you're new here or haven't been watching for the past month or so, I am back in Alaska after taking a couple months in the Southwest, fulfilling my Southwest Jeep dream. I made it very quickly back up here to Southeast Alaska, which is my home base for when I'm not traveling extensively, and I'm working on a crabbing boat this summer, trying to earn some money to be able to help build out the property that my mom and I bought last summer. It has been about a year since we have made the move over to Alaska. I started using this app called Nunu. I will put the link in the description below. I put a poll post up to see what kind of video you wanted to see. If you wanted to see either a video about the things I love about Alaska or a video about the things I dislike about Alaska. Basically, Nunu is an interactive marketplace where you can bid, vote, and back the outcomes of people's lives. You vote to watch the creator, aka me, do the most voted on option when the allotted time ends. So far, I've been having fun experimenting with this app and figuring out what the best way to use it is, and I posted like a week or so ago asking you guys if you wanted to see a video about the things I dislike about Alaska or the things that I like about Alaska, and of course I got the most votes for what I dislike about Alaska because I think it's a little bit more controversial, and because of that poll, now I'm making a video about things I don't like, or rather the cons about living in Alaska, because the reason why I chose Alaska as my home base is that I think it's a wonderful, beautiful, welcoming place, and there's a lot about it that I do really like. That's why I chose it to be my home base. But like everything, there are cons. So this is in no way saying that Alaska is a bad place. If you're from here, I'm no way trying to say that, you know, the place that you are local to or native to is a bad place. These are just my observations in the past year or so of living here that I've come up with, and that may help some of you guys who want to potentially move up here as well. So that being said, we are going to dive in. Don't forget to check out Nunu, and the link is in the description below to be able to vote on what types of videos I make and where I'm going, what I'm doing. I think it would be really cool to get y'all's input in a fun and new way. I love trying new stuff out, so go check that out. And we're gonna dive right into the 5 cons of living in Alaska. So the first thing that everyone talks about and everybody pretty much knows about Alaska is that living here can be quite expensive. So everyone knows what the current economic situation is here in the US, and things are inflating. Things are way more expensive. But even before that, things were way more inflated up here than they were down there. That is just because a lot of the stuff that you get up here has to be imported on a barge. And I'm specifically talking about Southeast Alaska, on this island that I live on. Things are even more expensive from what I've heard and what I've seen online in like Fairbanks and, you know, further up near the Arctic, which makes sense because it's so far removed from any of the places that produce the things. So that is one of the things. Here we have to get all of our stuff on a barge from Seattle, and that really drives the prices up naturally. So everything from like gas to your simple bread loaf, to buying just household items like toilet paper, paper towels. Yeah, pretty much everything has a price markup on it because of that, and it just makes you have to be a lot more frugal, that's for sure. And if you come down from the lower 48, a lot of people, what they do is they stock up on stuff and bring it up with them when they come for the season that they're going to be there. Last week when I went to go buy groceries, which included buying stuff for a cheesecake, which everybody voted on Nunu, and I made a cheesecake, which included those ingredients, was $96. So I'm spending around $100 a week on food for just myself, and that is being like super frugal and cheap with the stuff and like making the same things over and over again and like meal prepping. So if that gives you a good idea of how expensive things are, maybe I can do another video more in depth. I think I did make a vlog about showing some of the prices, but that was before the price inflations of 2022. So maybe I should make an updated video about that. And gas right now is almost $6 a gallon up here. I know it's probably pretty bad in places like California, but here that's really bad. To put that into perspective, gas when I left for the Southwest in February was an average of like 460 here, and now it's like 590 something, around that range. But I have to add the upside about living here is that there are so many ways to forage and hunt and fish for your own food here if you're willing to put the time in to do it. So if you have more time, then you can get food in that way, and if you have less time because you're working, then you get food in the way of spending more money. So you just have to kind of figure things out. Like, I'm gonna start making my own bread because there's no good bread that is imported up here that is just like super artisanal, and so I'm gonna start making my own bread, and that will save me a lot of money. So I think it's important to choose items to make that are worth your time to make up here. All right, number 2 on my list is wild animals. I get comments about bears, watching out for bears literally every time I post a video about Alaska or anything I post on social media about Alaska. There's always at least one comment or message about bears. And yes, bears are just the tip of the iceberg here. There's also moose, which are way more deadly than bears. Everyone freaks out about bears, and I haven't seen a bear once here, but I've seen tons of moose here, and they can be way more aggressive than bears, as well as there are more people who die from running into a moose on the road than people getting mauled by bears here. And then on the other hand, there's also wolves, but I've only heard 1 or 2 stories about wolves, and that was like way out in the bush. But on your day-to-day around town, you really don't have to worry about bears or moose or any of that. It's a pretty rare occurrence, at least here on this specific island. Up further north, I think it's different. So I think it's interesting to see the difference between Southeast Alaska and further north, how that goes. That is one con, is just like, you have to be more aware of your surroundings and pay attention. But it's like that in other parts of the north as well, like the Yukon or in the Rocky Mountains. It's just a way of life here. It would be nice to be able to tromp through the woods though without having to worry about animals. Always take preventative measures by carrying bear spray. Well, that's not really preventative, that's more of a reactionary method. But don't bring smelly food with you on trails, and yeah, bring dogs and people with you when you hike as well. So number 3 is a thing that I'm currently contending with. I'm currently trying to decide if I want to keep the studio that I'm living in and spend time up here doing some exploration while I wait on for next spring to be able to work on our property. However, another thing that maybe I could post a poll about on New, honestly, this is just a New ad at this point. So yeah, I'm contending with trying to figure out how to get like kitchen items and furniture without breaking the bank. Because yes, you can have furniture delivered up here on the Alaska Marine Line's barge, but that's gonna be super expensive. So you have to do a lot of like thrifting and like buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace from people in town, and not always gonna find the exact thing you want, like the exact piece of furniture. Like, I would like to decorate this place really cute, but it's really hard to find stuff up here, so you work with what you got. I've been looking at buying a new camera, and I've been having a hard time finding companies that will ship directly up to Alaska extra lithium batteries for my camera. So that's one interesting thing. And some places don't even ship to Alaska. It's unfortunate, but you have to stick to Amazon a lot instead of smaller businesses, online businesses that I prefer to shop with. So sometimes it can be kind of disappointing when you're like, oh, I was gonna order that thing, but they don't ship to Alaska. But then on the other side of that is that it just forces you to learn how to make your own things. Like, I'm contemplating making my own desk to be able to edit on, or maybe I should just make my own couch. It makes you a little more creative and self-reliant. Number 4 is a thing that everyone knows about Alaska, and that is that the weather is harsh. I did not grow up in harsh weather. I grew up in Sacramento, California for a majority of my childhood, and Yes, we did have harsh summers where the weather would get super hot, but this is the exact opposite where things will get super cold. Now, I think the thing that people tend to mix up is that this area of Southeast Alaska is a lot more like British Columbia, or I like to compare it to like Seattle, but like a little harsher than that. Like, it's very rainy here. Rain's over like 200 inches of rain or something here in a year. On this particular island, and last year it doesn't normally snow that much. Like, the average is like 12 inches a winter. However, this past year it snowed like I think over 100 inches. I'll have to double check on that, but it was the harshest winter they've had here, I think, in a very long time, like in recent history. And it got into the negatives for, you know, several days like in a row, a couple times, and yeah, it's very harsh. So that's something to get used to. As my best friend said, she's Canadian, and she said that when she lived there and it got into the negatives, it was either you live or you die. So you live. So that can be kind of hard, but it's also kind of fun. But that is a con though. There are some days where you're just craving sun, or you're craving warmer weather when it's very cold. Or you're just craving for it to not rain for, you know, the 10th day in a row. Number 5, and the last thing about living in Alaska, is that sometimes it can be really frustrating, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, how slow things go here. Because it's a smaller rural town, people move a lot slower, and most days that is great. It's so nice to be able to go into town and, you know, you're just doing your thing, you chat with people that you know, and it's like very calm and relaxing. I like that. I struggle with anxiety myself, and it's nice to know that I'm not gonna have to be rushing through town and traffic and all of that. However, when you're trying to get business things done, for example, like getting a contractor to build a little parking pad, 2-car parking pad in front of our property, which should not be something that's hard to get done. It's gonna take us, yeah, 2 years in total to be able to have that done. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. But that's also considering that, you know, COVID backed things up and harsh winter and stuff. So like, there's always something that makes things go longer. Or another example is when I was getting my driver's license here, besides the fact that I had to take the test 2 times, yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. However, it took me at least a month to be able to get an appointment, and then after that month, and then I failed the test and I had to take it again, the person ended up forgetting about my appointment. So a lot of the things are very understaffed here, which makes it harder for things to get done, and they get done slower because you're in the queue waiting for your turn, and that can be frustrating when it's something that is like mildly important, like getting your driver's license or your car registration. So that is one con of living here. So yeah, tell me what you think about these 5 cons about living in Alaska. If you are from Alaska, or specifically Southeast Alaska, comment down below what are some of your cons, but as well as some of the things you love about living here. I think it'd be interesting to hear from those of you who have lived here your whole life or a very long time, because I'm still very much a newbie here and I'm still learning things about what it's like to live here. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think the thing that really attracted me to Alaska is this like idea of self-reliance and having to think outside of the box for a lot of things, and a lot of these cons make you do that. So maybe I just like a challenge, but I do really love living here, and those cons are not enough to stop me from wanting to live here, because it is just so beautiful here, and just like my little bubble safe haven when I'm not traveling. That's why I love it here. Thank you for watching. I will be posting a video about my crabbing experience here very soon. I am just exhausted, if you can't tell. I've been working 12-hour days pretty much every day and working my booty off. But I've been learning so much about the commercial fishing industry and about myself and how capable and strong I am. So I can't wait to share that experience with all of you, and don't forget to check out New. I think that it could get really fun as I start to experiment with different poll ideas, and I can get some ideas from y'all. So Thank you for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Love you guys. Forehead kiss.